All right, what's up, everyone? It's been a while since I've been on the mic. Been away for a little bit, getting everything together, working with the leagues and everything. I got away from Twitch. Got away from kind of what we set out to do with our leagues and with the website and everything. So, um, partly, mostly my fault. Apologize for that. But we're gonna get back into it. We're gonna make this a little bit more regular. We're gonna do a show, which you can see in the title, PX1Sports Live. We're going to do that at least once a week, maybe a little bit more. So we'll talk about what's going on the website. We'll talk about some of our leagues and stuff like that. The first thing I want to talk about today is, why we're all here, why we're all in the leagues, and it's what is sim? What is sim to you? What does it mean? Why are you here? Why are you playing sim leagues? That type of thing. Some of the guys, kind of question, why do I get on guys, about different stats and play styles and stuff like that. Some people are more open to it. Other guys kind of wonder like what's going on. And so, I'm kind of interested in, what other people think is sim, why you guys play sim. What sim means to me is it's trying to replicate a realistic football game as closely as possible. The best example that I can use of what I like for sim or what sim is if you guys think about the Rams game this weekend. For those of you that saw it and saw the highlight of the Rams, the Seahawks punted, and they punted it to the left side of the field. Well, the punter's left side of the field, but all of the Rams and Tavon Austin and all of the blockers ran to the right side of the field. Make it, and they said, during the game, it's like, okay, he always punts to the same side of the field. All the guys are running down there. They're just looking at the return man. They're not really paying attention to where the ball's going. So they decided, as they were watching film during the week, they decided that, hey, he's always punting to the same side of the end zone at this, or same side of the field at this point. He's always trying to coffin corner it into the left side. Well, let's all run to the right side and fake them that we're going that way, and then we'll have Stedman Bailey over here catch it over his shoulder on the opposite side, take it front. As we all saw, they ran it back for a touchdown. And, that's what I think sim is in a league format. Obviously, we don't all have a week to prepare for our games and to watch video, and most of us don't want to do that, but it's that strategy that goes into it and doing things like that that make it exciting and make it interesting. So, that's kind of what I want to recreate in my leagues and the leagues that we run on the site. And that's what I hope that, we can provide for other people that are looking for sim because, there's a one guy that I used to play with in our NCAA leagues. And, he started off where we were kind of questioning, how sim he was. He got in the lobby ball and was worrying about his ranking. And he would do some things that were kind of like, like he would just be trying to look for exploits in the AI. Well, as we played, and he got used to, me running the leagues and what I was looking for, he actually adapted and he got to the point where he hated people saying that he wasn't sim or that he was cheese or something like that. And as we went along, our games were epic. Like, when we would play our games, um, it was always punch and counter punch. I would think that he's going to do a certain thing because of the times that we've played, and or even how he was playing in that specific game. So I would try to do things to set him up. He's going to think that I'm doing this, so let me show him that. But I know that I'm going to come with this later on to throw him off. And he would be doing the same thing. He'd be like, okay, I want to show him this, but I'm really going to try to set him up and try to catch him when he does this. I'm going to try to catch him with this and see if I can, get a touchdown or get an interception. And our games were great. Like, you can find some of our old games on YouTube. It's youtube.com/majesty95. You can look for some of them on there, and they were just a lot of fun. I don't know if you can tell it just by watching the video of it, but they were so much fun sitting there going back and being like, okay, I've seen him from this today, or he's showing me something I haven't seen from him before, and trying to match what he's doing, and he's trying to match what you're doing, and it's like a chess match, and you're going back and forth and trying to figure out, what you're going to do, and that's what sim is to me, because that's what realistic football, as we saw with the Rams against the Seahawks, that's what realistic football is. Coaches are trying to outsmart the other coach, and they're trying to find an edge, and they're trying to find a tendency, and they're trying to exploit that, and So that's what I want to recreate in the leagues. I want guys the opportunity to do that stuff in our leagues. And when you're mixing up your plays and when you're thinking in that mindset and you're like, okay, how can I add a new play that I haven't run before? Or how can I use more formations? Or how can I give my opponent as many different looks and make him think on a different level than everybody else? That's what sim is to me. That's what, we want to create, and that's what I want out of my leagues, and that's the games that are the most fun. And so I think a lot of people that come into sim leagues, they don't really understand that. They're kind of like, well, I don't run the same 3 or 4 plays over and over again, so I'm not a lobby ball player. But what they really do is they just run the same 6 or 7 plays over and over again. And legitimately, we've seen that in our leagues, is guys that they come in, they're like, well, I'm not a lobby ball, I play sim. Well, they run the same 2 or 3 formations and the same 6 or 7 plays over and over again, and they think because they're not running the same 3 or 4 that they're not a lobby ball player, they're not a cheese. But really they are to a majority of sim players, And it's surprising that there's that many people out there that are like that, but it is what it is. So I just want to start off talking about that a little bit. For those of you that are in the league that kind of wonder why I get on with stats and gameplay and stuff like that, and some of the league leaders, they get in there and they look at stuff and they say stuff. That's what sim is to me. That's why we're all here, is to create that atmosphere that we're having a chess match between our opponent. You can't have a chess match when there's only 3 pieces on the board. That's boring and nobody really wants to do that. But most of the guys in the league, they want the chess match with the full board, and they want to think, okay, what's he doing now? What's he going to do on the next play? How are we going to set him up? That's all, what sim is. So, I just wanted to address that a little bit and, let you guys know what I thought about it, kind of explain why I do it, what our vision is for the league, what I want the leagues to be like, and hopefully all you guys are on the same page. I'd love to hear what you guys consider sim also. So post it in the comments. You guys can go on the website. The website's PX1Sports.com. For those of you, I see that some of you guys are in the chat. Apologize, I wasn't trying to ignore anybody, but I just wanted to get that little part in there and talk about it uninterrupted. So PX1Sports.com is the website. You guys can go on there, click on leagues. It will bring you to the forum, which is where we host our leagues. You can click on Madden 15. It will show you that Necessary Roughness is our PS4 league that we got running right now. But that's what we're trying to do. And hey, if that fits what you guys are looking for and what you guys want on a league, we are open. You guys check it out. Let us know, and we'll definitely see if we can't fit you guys in there. So that was the first thing. I just want to touch on that, cover that real quick. Next thing, for those of you in the league, you already know we are in the wild card round of the playoffs. So we'll kind of go over that, talk about where we're at in the league right now, and what's coming up for it. So. Quick recap, here are the standings for the AFC. Obviously, we screen cap this off of Daddy Leagues. We do use Daddy Leagues on the site. So, obviously, some good records in the AFC. When we get to the NFC, it's not going to look so pretty. But obviously, the Patriots, Chiefs, Ravens all came in at 14-2. So, it's really going to be interesting to kind of see how the playoffs work out. The Patriots actually didn't get a first-round bye. 14-2, they didn't get a first-round bye. They're actually going to be playing the Chargers tonight in the last of the wild card games, and we'll get onto the divisional playoffs starting tomorrow, and we'll see the Ravens and Chiefs in action. Patriots, if they can beat the Chargers. So a lot of really good guys. Really tough battles in the AFC. In the NFC, things are a little bit different. We had only 2 teams that won 10 games or more. The Saints actually started off, and they were like 10-0 or something like that. They kind of struggled at the end of the year. Still wind up getting the number 1 seed at 12-4. And then we see the 49ers who were 11-5. They were off to like a pretty good start, like 8-0, 9-0 early on. And then he got busy with work a lot. He wasn't on as much, so they kind of fell off a little bit. But those teams are obviously the 2 favorites in the NFC. They didn't play this week because they got first-round bye, so we'll see what they got next week. We do know the Lions were taken down by Cardinals. The Cardinals are okay. So we had 3 teams that were 10-6. So the Cardinals beat the Lions. Lions are actually a CPU team. And I'm in the NFC North. It's embarrassing, but the CPU team did make it to the playoffs. They won the division. They actually beat me on a tiebreaker. I lost to them like in week 15. I had a chance to win it. I lost to the CPU. I screwed myself. Oh well, it is what it is. But Blueberries, Arizona Cardinals did knock off the Lions, so they'll be moving on. And then the Cowboys beat the Falcons in the other game, so they will be both moving on to the divisional round. So that's kind of a look at what we did, or how it kind of played out as far as our standings, how our teams did. A lot of great users. Other guys kind of struggled with the CPU. Me being one, I lost 51-15 to the CPU the first game. Now I did finish winning 8 of my last 11 games, so I did kind of figure it out and bounce back. But CPU is tough this year, no doubt about it. Definitely tough. Not easy, not easy in the least. So let's look at that. I wanted to go over and look at the leaders real quick. We were talking about Daddy Leagues. This is an actual live screen cap from our Daddy League site. As you can see, we're scheduled to advance at 11. I think our last game is going to get played a little bit after 11 Central Standard Time, so probably advance in 6 or 7 hours if I'm still up. If not, Friday morning, and we'll get the divisional round started. But I wanted to go over the leaders a little bit, kind of show everybody that hasn't had a chance to get on there. We do have a Daddy League site. All this stuff is live on the Daddy League site. You can look at it. Matt Ryan, we didn't have a 4,000-yard passer, which is, it's not, I don't know if it's super realistic. Part of it, we got 10-minute quarters with 15-second runoff. But I think it goes to say what kind of guys that we have. We have guys that mix it up. We don't have guys that just, sit back and throw for 5,000 yards, because honestly, in a video game, throwing for 5,000 yards is pretty hard. And it would be a little bit unsim if we had that. So Matt Ryan led the league in passing. Big Ben and Eli Manning kind of surprises in there at 3 and 4. As we scroll down, we'll look at the rushing leaders. Jonathan Dwyer of the Cardinals. Now, Blueberry took over the Cardinals mid-season. Like, he wasn't even there the whole season. I don't know what it is about Dwyer, but he wound up taking over. Dwyer wound up barely just edging out Adrian Peterson for the rushing title. So that's kind of an interesting story to follow going into next year. Adrian Peterson, for those of you that don't know, was actually on my team. Obviously, I'm the Vikings. You can tell I'm wearing my Vikings Harrison Smith jersey. Peterson, I traded to the Dolphins like 3 or 4 weeks in the season. I started off 0-3. Well, I actually started off 0-5, but I was like 0-3, 0-4, and I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna get rid of Peterson because we're not going anywhere this year. And surprisingly, my rookie running back Jerick McKinnon actually ran for over 1,000 yards, and I think he got 10 touchdowns too. So wound up working out for me. I got a couple of draft picks and some good players out of it. So that was pretty good. We definitely like that. And the usuals, LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles are up there. Alfred Morris actually did pretty well. You Weak Me Strong, working with the Redskins, they did pretty well. So moving on, looking at the leaders, receiving leaders. As you can see here, nothing super outlandish. I mean, Andre Johnson had 112 receptions, and some people looking at sim leagues are like, that's a little bit high, right? But if you go and look at it, Gronk and I think the number 2 receiver, Andre Johnson's with the Patriots. He traded for him in the offseason. But, I mean, they had like 70, 75 receptions. Like, it was realistic. You can't say anything about it. You can't fault Mark, who's the owner of the Patriots. Everything's legit there. Julio Jones. I got Cordero Patterson. He actually got up there in yardage. Vernon Davis, a little bit high. Some people are like, whoa, a tight end's leading the league. I actually went back and looked at it, and I think in 08 or 09, Vernon Davis actually did lead the 49ers in receptions. So, he did a better job of mixing up a little bit more as the season went along. But, we went back and looked at it, and it was realistic. We could make a case for it. And then Antonio Brown's up there. So that was, again, looking at the stats, everybody did a really good job. I think we accomplished what we set out to do in that we wanted to provide realistic stats and a realistic experience. And I think we did that. All right, so what's the next one? I got distracted by what somebody was saying in there. He's getting a bunch of messages deleted. So the next one is picks leaders. This is funny enough. So for those of you that haven't played Madden a whole lot, you understand that it is a lot harder, especially on next gen. I don't know what last gen is like. I don't know if it's still pretty much the same as other ones, but it's definitely a lot harder. Aaron Rodgers led the league in interceptions. Peyton Manning was actually 4th. Now, E.J. Manuel and Cam Newton, we could kind of expect maybe to be up there. Tony Romo, a lot of you guys would say, yeah, Tony Romo. But it is definitely a lot harder. One of the things we're going to be doing on the website is doing tutorials and stuff like that. So, I'm trying to put stuff out there. I did a little video earlier on, which you can find on YouTube, Majesty95. youtube.com majesty95. We're going to be doing some more stuff. I'm posting articles. Obviously we want to create an environment where it's as competitive as possible and people can have those chess matches, but not everybody knows how to play that way. And that's one of the things that I'm finding out is that not everybody knows what's realistic football. Not everybody knows what sim is. So I'm going to be doing articles. I'm going to be doing videos and, trying to, help people be more sim. And hopefully next year we won't see 46 interceptions, which is actually the NFL record. Hopefully we won't see that next year. So hopefully those will start to come down a little bit, but it's on here, so I was going to show it. I know Pack and Clay and Woody and King of Kings, you guys probably don't like to see your names up there. And Saifu, you guys probably don't like to see that highlighted, but it's on Daddy League site, so blame them. But we're going to talk about it. So moving on, this is defense. All these guys that are up there, they're all pretty much CPU players. No users are going to get that many, but we'll move on down to the sacks. Now, sacks is one of those things that we're still trying to work to address. The sack numbers don't look out of control right now. About 5 or 6 weeks late in the season, I think Campbell already had 19. A lot of the guys were on pace to break the sack record. So, and we looked at it. It's a little bit too easy for some of the guys to get pressure using the mini game on there. So, guys did a really good job of adapting to it and trying to mix up their game so that they didn't break records and we didn't have unrealistic sets. So definitely kudos to you guys. Black Paw, Clay, Nighthawk, Woody with Von Miller, Blueberries, super commendable to you. He took ownership of his thing. Campbell had 7 sacks in 2 games and he was like, yeah, I got a little carried away, and he self-imposed a suspension on him. So yeah, we were really going on the bad track with sacks and looking like we were going to have like a couple guys with 30 sacks and like 5 guys break the sack record, and everybody did a really good job, kind of reeling that in and bringing it down. So, and the last one, interceptions. We were on pace to have at least 3 or 4 guys break the single season record for interceptions, which is 14, and it was 14 back in like the 50s. The modern day record from going from like the 80s on is 12. So we had 2 guys tie that, but we didn't have anybody break it. Jarius Byrd was like on pace for 20 interceptions for most of the year, and he stayed at 12. And so I don't know what B Swarm did, if it was just random chance or what, or if he did something to try to, bring his totals down, but those came in line. We were looking at having some outrageous things. So again, kudos to Black Paw, Blueberries, and B Swarm. You guys all did a really good job making sure that your stats stayed in line and stuff like that. So definitely a great job there. Definitely want to look at that, kind of go over the stats, show you guys what we're doing. So those of you that haven't seen the Daddy League site, this is just a portion of the Daddy League site that I copied. So that is on there. You can go to daddyleagues.com/PX1, and that is our Daddy League site. You can check it out. It's got everything that you could ever imagine about our league on there. It's awesome. I'm so glad that I decided to add that. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and it's making the league experience a little bit better for you guys also. So the last thing I wanted to talk about before we get into some questions and chatting with you guys, if you guys want, is the awards. Got to give a big props to Big Tex, who put together our awards section. So we will pull that up. He went in, he posted this on the forum. Again, you can see this, PX1Sports.com. Click on forums, go to Madden 15 leagues, excuse me, and then go to Necessary Roughness, which is our PS4 league. And you can check out the awards on there. We'll run through them real quick. Drew Brees, B Swarm, led Brees to the title, even though we didn't see Brees leading the league in passing yardage. Overall, he had a really good season for a really good team. So I can say he probably does, deserve that recognition. Coach of the Year is Andy Reid. Congrats to Black Paw. His 14-2 season, led the league, or well, it led the league, but it led Andy Reid to Coach of the Year. So congrats to Black Paw on that. Here we go, Adrian Peterson. I found a picture of him in his Vikings because we're trying to find one with the PNG, and I didn't have time to try to make it look right on Photoshop. So we got him in his Vikings, but you can tell by the colors and the Miami Dolphins. Peterson did get traded to the Dolphins, and he wound up leading the AFC in rushing. So he won Offensive Player of the Year. Frank Gore in the NFC. Defensive Player of the Year, as we see, we had Derek Johnson, and we saw had 12 interceptions, and then Darrell Washington, actually, of the Cardinals. Offensive Rookie of the Year, my boy Jerick McKinnon. What? He took it home for the Vikings. Terrence West, who got traded to the Raiders in the offseason, wound up taking it down for the Raiders. And then we got Clinton Dix and Jadeveon Clowney in for the AFC or for the Defensive Rookie of the Year. So we'll scroll through these other ones. I won't go over all of them, but you guys can take a look at them as we go through. Again, this is all posted on the forum, PX1Sports.com. Just click on forums, go to our Madden leagues, look for Necessary Roughness, and you guys can find them. So again, props to Big Tex, did a great job with that. Definitely appreciate that. I think that did a really good job, and it definitely adds to the league. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed that as well. Swaggy, what is up, buddy? Man, I wish you could have too. A lot of guys, I know you were trying to get in on the league and some things happened. We had the guys on the Xbox One league. Fortunately, we weren't able to make that happen and didn't have enough structure, and I thought it'd be a little bit easier, so I do apologize to those guys. But a lot of fun, man. First year is in the books. We've had a lot of fun. Definitely, looking to do some more things for season 2. I'm definitely going to be on Twitch more. We'll be talking about the league. We'll be talking about the forum. We'll be talking about playing sim. We'll be talking about tutorials and how to get better as a sim and just as a football player in general. So lots of things to look forward to as we head into season 2. So that will be a lot of fun. Vinny, I just saw your comments about the real jersey. Yes, if you guys go to the website, px1sports.com, go to the forums, go to, I believe it's Off Topic. Vinny, who's Vinardella, has got a great post on there about a video, how he got basically jerseys like this one, but they're knockoffs. They're from China, and they look pretty good. I've got one. I'm just one of those guys, like, if it's not real, I can tell, and it drives me nuts. But other guys are like, hey, I can get a thing that most people can't tell isn't real for $20. I'm in. So you guys go to the forum, px1sports.com. Again, click on the forum, go to Off Topic, and you can look for Vinardella's post there on the Chinese jerseys and shoes and everything else. You guys can get pretty much everything you want at a super cheap discount if you don't mind it being a knockoff. So definitely check that out. But me, no, I had to rep the real deal. Got my Harrison Smith jersey. I spent like $150 on it, but maybe I'm stupid. That's just me. That's what we had to roll with. So let's see. I'm gonna scroll back through. Again, I was just trying to go through and cover the things that I wanted to cover. And Titan Man, what's up? Sorry I didn't acknowledge you earlier. I was just trying to go through things, but saw you jump in there. Appreciate it. Welcome to the league. Hope that you're gonna enjoy it. Look forward to interacting with you and playing against you, and helping out with your game if you need it, or you can help us out if you're like Black Paw and Convict and you're gonna kick tail. Then maybe you can help us out with our game. So definitely welcome to the league. Now again, I opened the show by talking about what is sim to you. If you guys want to comment on that, what sim means to you, why you guys play in sim leagues, feel free to comment in the comments. We'll talk about that a little bit. If there's anything you guys want to know about the league coming up, what to expect, things that you guys want to see, suggestions, comments, concerns, whatever. Let's bring them out. Let us know. Talk about them. Bring them up, and we'll see what we can address. And kind of go from there. But again, man, I appreciate everybody that's in the league. I think we're up to 26 or 7 guys in the league now. So we've got a ton of guys. It's been a great season 1. Honestly, we have had some issues that popped up in the middle, but honestly, overall as a group, this is the best group that I've played with in my last 3 years of running leagues. I've ran full 32-man leagues. I've run 12-man NCAA leagues. And honestly, this is the best group starting off. We've had the least issues. You guys have been the most, accommodating, trying to work and make sure that we're hitting our vision and everything. So definitely appreciate you guys. Couldn't do it without you. You guys definitely make, everything that I do with the leagues and trying to make your experience better. You make it my experience better, and you make it easier for me to do what I do. So definitely appreciate you guys, and I do thank you for that. So doesn't look like anybody's posted any questions or anything on there. So we'll move on. But I just wanted to touch that stuff. I'm gonna copy at least the what is sim to me part off and put it on YouTube. You guys can check that out later. YouTube.com/Majesty95. You can guys check that out if you missed it. You guys can leave comments on there. Tell me why you guys like sim leagues and what you guys are thinking sim. I want to hear. I want to know what you guys are looking for, and hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from and what my vision is for the league and for the website. And we can all work together and make PX1Sports the best place for sim gaming on the planet. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. With y'all's help, hopefully we can do that. So if nobody else says anything else, I'm going to go ahead and check off. Again, just a short show, 30-minute show. Just wanted to hit on that really quick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any comments or suggestions for the next show, we'll do one probably early next week, talk about the playoffs, maybe the Super Bowl, maybe do a draft preview, something like that. So if you guys have any comments, suggestions, anything like that, post it on the forum, and we will get into it tight. And I will send you an invite to the league as soon as I get off of here. I don't think I have done that yet. I was waiting on your PSN, so I'll send you a friend request and an invite to the league, and you guys can get in on that. So Pack asked about realistic number of rushing attempts per game. Those of you that play with me for a while, I'm sure that this is in relation to Arian Foster, who we might be able to capture it if I scroll up here. See if I can... Oh, wrong one. So this, I'm sure Pack's question is partly related to Arian Foster's game. 38 carries, 194 yards, 3 TDs. The biggest question mark regarding that is, he won that game, I think, 45-3 or something like that. And I sent him a message on the forum. I'm still working with it. D is one of the regulars here on the show. So he's a good dude. He may be a little bit new to SimLeague, so we may have to work with him a little bit. One thing that you guys know that have played with me for a while, I don't like setting specific numbers. Now, the one thing I will say is no record should ever be broken, whether it's season records or individual game records. The reason being is that what I've seen in the past is when you allow records to be broken, then people set out specifically to break records. And then when one record goes down, another person's going to try and break it. They're going to try to break another record, and then it just leads to cheese, and people aren't, they're playing the CPU and they're just trying to pad stats. They don't try to play smart when they're playing users. They're trying to, just try to break whatever record they're going at. So I think the best policy is no record should ever be broken in the sim league, because that keeps everybody worried about just playing sim and not about trying to break records. But other than that, I don't like to put numbers on things. I do think his 38 attempts, he probably could put his backups in the fourth quarter. He probably could have gave some other guys some rushing attempts. 194 yards. I mean, if you have a great game, I ran for 220 against Washington. You weak me strong. It was a user game. They just played bad defense that game. So, it could happen. If this was a CPU game and it was a blowout, he probably should have put his backups in. So we'll address that going forward. But again, I don't want to put numbers on it. Realistically, you should give your backups. When your starter gets tired and you see him get orange or whatever color he turns it on the screen, put in your backup. I try to mix in my backups. A lot of other guys do too. I think that's realistic. Just try to think about what happens in real football. The starter doesn't carry the ball every snap. He comes out for a few plays. He gets a breather here and there, especially in the fourth quarter. Third and fourth quarter, they're going to try to rest him, keep him fresh. So, just try to be realistic with it. If it seems a little bit unrealistic because it was a blowout game or you're not getting your backup enough carries, we'll talk to you. We'll let you know, like, hey, this is what's realistic. Try to keep it in there. Another website that you guys can use is footballreference.com. If you're ever wondering, go check it out. I did that whenever people asked about Vernon Davis leading the team in receptions and being top 5 in the league. I went to Pro Football Reference. I looked at Vernon Davis. I looked at his best season. And it was like 2008, 2009. That league year, he actually led the 49ers in receptions. So there was a case to be made. I can say, hey, you know what? It's realistic. He's one of the better tight ends in the league. It happens. So Pro Football Reference is a great tool. If you guys want to know what sim is, what's realistic, go there and look it up. If you're wondering, hey, should my running back have this percentage of receptions of my total receptions? Go look it up. Go look up, your team or that running back and say, okay, what's the highest percentage of receptions he's ever had? Generally, I don't think running backs ever get more than 20% of total completions, but you can look it up. That's what I do. That's how I try to gauge it, try to judge whether it's realistic or not. So, Pack, hope that answered your question. Kind of give you an idea of how I go about looking at what's realistic. Obviously we play 10-minute quarters, so we're not going to be able to have everything exactly right. So then I just try to do percentages. Was The percentages of the total offense, was that realistic? Percentages of pass completions, was that realistic? Just got to go by that. And, as long as you're keeping it somewhere in a realistic realm, I mean, that's all I'm asking. As long as you're not throwing 40% of your passes to your running back, or, 40% of your passes to your tight end, or, something weird like that, or 95% of your rushing attempts are all going to your number one back. We're cool. You're trying to mix it up, and then that's all we're really looking for. So, trying to catch up on the comments. What's up, mixtape? Aligning players on defense. That's actually one of those things that I was actually going to do a video on, so I'm glad Paul brought that up. Schwaggy, go to the website. If somebody can post a link, I don't know if it's going to block it or not. Actually, I'm on it. I'll do it. Give me a second. I will get to your question, Paul. I will get there in just a second. Here's a direct link to our league. Schwaggy, if you want to go, just go to our league description, sign up, read over the league description, the league guidelines. I think you might have done it already. We've changed some things. We've added some things. Just make sure you can be active and everything, and you can stay active on a 2 to 3 day advance schedule and everything like that. Then definitely sign up, dude. You're more than welcome. Excuse me. You're more than welcome to be part of the league, man. You're one of the regulars on here, and more of my regulars we can have. Guys are going to be active and contribute, man. I'm all for it. So Black Paws question is talking about aligning players on defense. A couple of things that I've noticed. The one thing, and this is in the rules, is that you should never move more than one player on defense. And if you move that player, you should take control of him until at least the snap, which means you shouldn't be trying to move one guy and then take another guy and move him and setting up nano blitzes or anything like that. The biggest thing is you should be doing it in a realistic manner. Now, the parameters that I have set up is you shouldn't ever bring a cornerback inside of the linebackers. That should never happen, ever, 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 ever. You'll never see that in an NFL game where the cornerbacks are lined up inside of the linebackers. That should never happen. The safeties should never come inside of the linebackers, so inside of the box. The box is basically your defensive line and your linebackers. Safeties should never come inside of your deepest linebacker. Now, I know in realistic scenario, especially some big hitting strong safeties, they might creep up inside or get closer to the line. And if they do that on just by the basic play call for Madden, totally okay, as long as it's a regular the part of the play it's bringing them up, or you do show blitz and it brings them up. I don't think it ever brings the safety inside the box, but if it did, okay, we can work with that. The problem, what we don't want to see is guys manually moving the safety inside the box, inside the linebackers, because it's not realistic. And it's a video game. There's blocking assignments. The line doesn't read some guys coming in, and stuff like that. It just throws stuff off. So we don't want to glitch anything. We don't want to set up nano blitzes inadvertently or on purpose. So, never bring corners inside of the linebackers. Never bring safeties inside of the linebackers. And we also shouldn't be moving linebackers up on the line of scrimmage. You can move them up a little bit. You can maybe even get a little bit of a head start if you think they're going to be running up the middle to try to meet them at the line and pop them. I'm okay with that. You see that realistically. But what we don't want to do is see linebackers lined up right on the line of scrimmage and trying to throw off the blocking AI and trying to sneak through unblocked, kind of goofy stuff like that. We don't want to see that. Another thing, and this might be more in line with what Paul was asking, was what about shifting linebackers and linemen? I don't see a whole lot of shifting of linebackers, so I don't think that's a big issue. Obviously, if you come out in a 4-3 stack, and which is 4 linemen, your 3 linebackers evenly spaced behind them, and your opponent comes out in a strong formation or even an I form with a tight end on one side, and you shift your linebackers to that side, that's okay. As long as you're not moving them around fast or doing kind of just weird stuff, that's cool. One thing that we do see a lot of is every play, guys shifting their defensive line. And I don't think it's necessarily the most realistic. I don't think it's the smartest thing in the world, but I also don't think it's necessarily glitchy. As long as because honestly, if you shift your line towards the tight end or the strong side of the formation, I, as a smart player, Black Paw is probably going to do it, Convict, Mark, B swarm, what we're probably going to do is we're going to shift our run to the opposite side, because what you just did by shifting your line is now you created angles for my offensive linemen to seal you off, to seal your guys off. Now you're putting your defensive lineman inside of my lineman on the left side if I shift to the opposite side, and now you're creating leverage for them. So I'm going to shift my line over there, and if you want to do that, that's up to you. I don't think it's necessarily sim to do it every play. If it's obvious that you're at a disadvantage or you really think the guy is going that way, then do it. But I don't think you should do it every play, because you're just going to give smart players leverage from their line, their offense line. They're going to shift it to the other way, and they're going to get leverage, and they're going to get an easy gain. So I'm not going to say that it's cheesy or that we're going to ban it or anything like that, but I don't think it's smart. I think it's easily combated. If you just run it to the opposite way, if I run a sweep to the opposite way and you shifted everything to the right, and I run a sweep out of an I form and I shift it back to the opposite side, you're screwed. I mean, just literally, you're screwed, because my fullback's going to come out there, my line's going to get the seal on you, my fullback's going to be leading, and unless your cornerback breaks off of the wide receiver and breaks through there, or somebody breaks a block, dude, you're screwed. So I don't think it's a good strategy, but counter is another way. If you shift it in there and I'm running a counter, you're going to get sealed off and you're going to give up a big run. So don't think it's smart, but I'm not going to say don't do it. Now, another thing that we have seen, not very often, but we've seen it recently, and we need to address it with that particular player. I don't know if it's just one or if it's multiple people, but moving your defensive lineman should never happen. You can spread them, you can shift them left and right, and that's it. But this player took his defensive tackle and moved him to the opposite side in between the other defensive tackle and defensive end. That is complete cheese. That is not allowed, and we will address it with that person. If he does it again, he's not going to be playing with us, but he probably didn't realize what he was doing. Maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but the only reason to do that is to try to throw off the blocking AI of the computer and try to create something weird there. It's not realistic. It's not there's no place in the league for it. So you should never move your defensive line. Now, if you want to move them just a shade over, instead of being, necessarily in like a 5 technique, and you're trying to shift them over to a 3 technique or something like that, and trying to get an angle to shoot a gap or something like that, you're just moving them over a little, I don't have a problem with that. But what we don't want to see is that, where you move a defensive tackle on the opposite side in between the defensive tackle and the defensive end, or taking your defensive end and shifting him out way outside so that he's not getting picked up, and just goofy stuff like that we want to see. But otherwise, like, just minor shifts, inside or outside, that's not a big deal. So Paul, I hope that answered your question and addressed what you were hoping to address. So is there you guys have any other questions, any other things that you want to see me address, talk about? I will definitely highlight this. I will highlight it so it's on my Twitch channel. You guys can find it there, and then I'll also upload it to YouTube so you guys can go back, and then I'll post it on the forum. Hopefully some of the guys are doing some of the weirder stuff see it, maybe not. I might have to send it to them directly and say, hey, look, don't do this. But if I have to do it, I have to do it. Because at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat. We want to create the most realistic experience possible, and we don't want to lose to somebody that's doing something crazy. Now, whether they did it on purpose or whether they did it just thinking they were being smart, not really realizing what they were doing, doesn't matter. So we don't want to do it. So again, hopefully that addresses y'all's concerns and gives you guys an idea of what we're looking at. If I don't have any other questions from you guys, then we will wrap it up. I think we went about 45 minutes or an hour, so good show. Definitely down with that. Let's see. While I'm waiting to see if you guys have any other questions, I'm gonna check in on Group Me and see what you guys are talking about. I don't know who Leroy Jenkins is. You guys can fill me on. You guys can fill me in on that whenever after the stream's over. So, no other questions. So, Titan Man, I will send you an invite. If I haven't already, I guess I haven't. So I'll send you a friend request and an invite to the league. So definitely welcome to the league, and hopefully you guys, again, thank you guys all for everything that you do. You make this a lot of fun. I know I've gotten frustrated a few times, but those of you that are in here doing the right thing and helping me try to build this thing, I appreciate it. And I love what I'm doing because of you guys. And hopefully we can continue to grow it, bring more leagues in, get more people on the site, help them out with their games and help them out with their leagues, and just create a place where everybody loves to go and hang out and play in great leagues and have a lot of fun. So, all right, man, I appreciate it. That's it for today. We will be back next week with another show, so stay tuned for that. If you guys want to chat more, you can find me on the website, PX1Sports.com. And again, make sure to check out YouTube.com/Majesty95. We will have, there's already a lot of great content on there. We'll be adding more, so check that as well. One last thing, you guys can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is at RealMajesty95. I will post, updates about the league, about the website, videos that we post. All that stuff goes on Twitter also. You guys can chat and interact with me on there also. Okay, cool. Well, I hope you guys all have a great weekend.